Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Mike Mad Dog Magnati, thanks for tuning in on this Monday morning in May. Isn't it beautiful? Great. This is the weather we live for, folks. This is why we live here. And you know what? The best is just around the corner. It's going to be June in a couple weeks. June is the best month of the year. We'll talk more about that later when June comes around. But hey, glad to have you here today. You know, I got a good guest, but just before we start, you know, for some of us, school was not all that of a great experience, you know, and it just irritated me a lot about my school days. And you know what really bugged me? I had teachers who were always telling me to live my dream, but do you think one of them let me sleep in class? No. And then I had this one wise guy teacher for homeroom, you know, on homeroom. Okay, getting there on time. I walked in late one time, and the homeroom teacher said, "What are you doing late, Magnati?" I said, "Well, I overslept." He said, "What? You sleep at home too?" So, and then, you know, I fixed him though. You know, I had him for another class later in the day, and he was kind of irritated with us. So he said, what are you all, what are you, crazy, a bunch of idiots? I said, if you know you're an idiot, please stand up. And nobody did anything. They just looked around. So finally, I stood up too. He says, "Oh, Magnati, you're admitting you're an idiot?" I said, "Well, no, sir, but I kind of felt bad about you standing there all by yourself." Okay, sorry. I got a guy today. You can hear him laughing in the background because these things probably happen to him. But this guest falls under the category. If you don't know this guy, you should. So, hey, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Mike Mad Dog Magnati, stick around. We'll be right back. So.
If you're stuck trying to find the perfect beer for you, look no further than Badger Mountain Brewing. We specialize in creating tantalizing craft beers that will soothe any picky taste buds and will satisfy your cravings. Check out everything from our amazing honey blonde that will appease even the most finicky taster, or a delicious frothy stout for dark beer lovers. Experience them all at Badger Mountain Brewing.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
Hi, I'm Cordell Schroeder, owner of East Wenatchee Mobile Storage.
If you're thinking about making a move anytime soon, check out the East Wenatchee Mini Storage brand new mobile storage service. They drop it off at your location, you pack it, and they pick it up and store it in their protected warehouse at East Wenatchee for as long as you need. When you're ready, they'll drop it off at your new home or office. East Wenatchee Mini Storage is excited to offer this brand new service to our region.
Call 509-884-8643 or find us on the web at ewministorage.com.
Okay, Street Talk and Other Stuff. I'm glad to have you here, and I'm very proud to have my guest, Mr. Tim-Lynch. Tim is a long-time Wenatchee resident. He's got a number of claims to fame. One of them was your dad, Jim, was kind of my long-time favorite mayor.
Yeah,
okay? He was
mine
a cool
too.
guy. Yeah, he's a great guy. Well, I really like Frank.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think Frank's doing a great job.
Frank's doing a wonderful job.
But your dad, he just, you know, I got some stories. Maybe we'll get into when I work for the police department. But Tim Lynch, tell us a little bit about yourself, okay? Because you're going to learn about why I wanted to have this guy on today. So,
I was born in Spokane. My dad was attending law school, and he finished law school and started scouting around for places to live,
right,
and open up a practice. He considered Quincy, and the rest of my family thanked him for choosing Wenatchee. And
not that there's anything wrong with Quincy.
I love Quincy.
Opportunities unlimited.
I love Quincy.
Yeah. Okay.
And so my uncle Gordon Kelly, who is also an attorney here
Oh, that's
in
right.
town.
Gordon is your uncle.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
My
that's
mother's
right.
brother.
Oh,
My
okay.
mother's brother.
Yeah, I knew Gordon real well.
Well,
and Ann, who recently passed.
And my aunt, Gordon introduced my parents.
Oh, okay. All right.
So he was instrumental in getting my father here to Wenatchee.
Yeah.
And so we moved to Wenatchee. I was about 3 years old. We lived out in an apartment on the second floor of Pershing Street.
Mm-hmm.
I remember visiting my neighbors to watch television. We didn't have TV.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the dark days, the very dark days.
Yeah.
And then my dad had a house built at 1919 Wellington. It's still there.
Really? Yeah.
Yep. And then we just progressed through houses. I grew up here. I attended St. Joe's Elementary School in Wenatchee. In fact, in 1956, when it was dedicated, I was there.
Really? Now, you went with one of my sisters-in-laws, right? Or
Correct.
Wasn't? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
My wife's whole family went to St. Joe's. Back then, it was kindergarten to 9th grade, right? Yeah.
Right, yeah, and I attended 1st through 9th grade. I did my kindergarten year at Washington Elementary with a few kids that ended up at St. Joe's. And you know, like any private school, when you go to school with all these people, you for an extended time, you become very close and bonded. And we were all from large families, and we had plenty of people to play with and torture and and make fun of. And so I did my 9 years there.
Yeah, large families, lots of kids in these Catholic families, so you could torture your younger brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I was convinced that's why we had younger siblings, you know, to put them through their paces. So I entered Wenatchee High School, which was the first public school I'd ever attended.
Yeah, same thing for my wife. Yeah.
And it was an experience.
See, now back where I'm from, Caldwell, New Jersey, okay, we had a lot of kids that went to St. Aloysius, the Catholic school. But we thought they were the tough ones. When they came from Catholic school to public school, we always were a little bit wary of these guys because we thought they were the hardcores, you know?
Well,
so
Wenatchee didn't take well to a lot of the Catholic school kids. As we'd walk to school, people would call us names and throw rocks because we wore uniforms. We all looked the same, so we were a cult evidently. And you know, we just kind of got used to that sort of frame of mind. But when I got done with high school, well, when I was in high school, when I was 9 years old, my mother sent me to summer band. She was tired of me banging on the pots and pans. If you're going to do that, you got to do it right. So she sent me to band, and I played drums, and it was an instant love affair between me and the musical world.
Really?
And I felt bonded. I felt like I don't really need to worry about what I'm going to do because this feels like what I'm going to do. But that being said, I was raised to be a lawyer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it was always, you're going to go to Gonzaga, you're going to go to law school, we'll open up a law firm, it'll be Lynch and Sons.
Oh, that never, in my family, my mother just wanted me to be a plumber.
Well,
you know, I mean, but there was nothing about going into not that we had a family business. But,
well, you know,
that's interesting.
It's all well and good, but when the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and the English Invasion came through, everybody wanted to play music, and I was one of them. And so I had friends come over and we'd jam in the basement, and by the time I was 17, Sarge Huber, who was my music teacher at Wenatchee High School, let us jam in the music room. So we'd set up our equipment and we jammed, and I was in a band that played at a church social in the basement of Eddie Mays, which is now Fred Meyer.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And
you're reaching way back, talking about Eddie Mays. So.
Yeah.
So what church social was it, for the Catholic Church?
No, it wasn't the Catholic Church. It was something that one of the guys in the band had booked.
Yeah, okay.
And we played 3 songs for the youth, and somebody put $17 of cash in my hand, and I looked at that and I went, goodbye law school and hello world.
Yeah.
Now I can feed myself. That's all I need to do. So after high school, a friend of mine, Roger Wallace, told me, hey, there's this band in Cle Elum. They need a drummer. You want the job? And I said, yeah, sure. Cle Elum, I don't care where it is. I just want to play. Yeah, Cle Elum, I could see it. You know,
Big time.
Big
yeah.
time. But we were in Cle Elum for about 3 months, and then we moved to Seattle. Cle Elum. I was just there the other day.
Right.
And we moved to Seattle, where we rehearsed, did a couple of gigs, and then broke up. And I ended up in Alaska working in a cannery, and then I found a band to play with at night.
Tannery?
Cannery.
Oh, cannery. Okay.
Crab
All right.
cannery.
Crab cannery. All right.
Yeah, I was up there for the better part of 3.5 years.
Yeah.
I came back, and then the band that I had played with up there sent me a ticket, an airline ticket, to come up and play a gig with them in Seward, which I did. So I was pursuing my music career, and I played in mostly working bands, road bands that traveled Montana, Wyoming, Canada, Oregon,
Right.
Alaska. And I came off the road. I was probably 32, 33, and I went back to school.
Oh, you stuck with it for a while. Okay. I didn't know you stuck with it that long.
Yeah,
so, okay.
when I started, I thought, you can do this, you can make a living at this, pursue it.
So how was your dad doing this whole time with you not, fulfilling his dreams?
Well, most of the time, we didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
We pursued our own interests for a number of years. We communicated, and as well as we ever had. And I just went on with it, and he ended up getting divorced. I missed that whole era in the household. And when I came back from Alaska, they weren't living together anymore. So I pursued whatever it was I did at the time. But when I went back to college, I wanted to be a writer. And I wanted to write about people, so I decided, well, I'll major in English and minor in sociology.
Okay.
And
where did you go to school?
Well, I started out at Wenatchee Valley College. I got involved in student government. I became the editor of the now defunct Night Edition. I worked with Carol Kane, who's a realtor in the Valley, and Marilee Smith-Lorenzen. I worked with her. And then I transferred to Gonzaga. And
so you did end up at Gonzaga.
I did. I did. It was, and it was.
Big Daddy.
Yeah, you got to do stuff sometimes. You just got to do it. But seriously, the reason I chose Gonzaga, because I had offers from other schools, is that I knew from my previous Catholic education that they weren't kidding about teaching us something, and the Jesuits were fully knowledgeable in whatever you asked them.
Yeah, when you go back to school later years, you're going to be serious about it.
Well, if you're, a lot of kids, when they get out of high school, well, I better go to college, it's expected, that's what I need to do, but, I kind of think if people got out and took a gap year, so, just a year off, and felt who they are, found out more about themselves, then they'd be ready. If that's what they decided to do, they'd be ready to go.
For some, that would work well.
That would work well. It worked for me. I had...
You took more than a year.
Yeah, I took
He's
more
out there.
than- I
He's
took
out there
about-
finding himself.
I took
Who
about,
am I?
I took about
Who am
15
I?
years. So yeah, who am I? I think, oh, I'm getting close to finding
him a
out who
while.
I am. I better lose
Okay,
myself.
but look, we need to take a quick break, okay? And when I come back, I want you to talk about the decision to the field you did go into and how actually that turned out. And this is good stuff, because this man is somebody we all in this community owe a debt to, and you're going to find out why. But hey, Street Talk and Other Stuff, Mike Mad Dog Magnati, stick around. We'll be right back. So.
Walk and Roll Wenatchee's Asian Express is fast, fresh food. Wenatchee Roll's new Poke Hawaiian Fresh Salad Bar is the best. Fresh greens, fresh seafood, and handmade sauces. You know what you want. At Walk and Roll, create your own style meal. Hot off the line chicken, beef, and veggie plates. Lunch or dinner to match your appetite. Fresh sushi, hot entrees, Poke Fresh Salad Bar. It's new. It's Walk and Roll Wenatchee fast, fresh food your way. Located on 5th and Mission.
Dear Mary Maids, just got home from a trade show and I didn't have time to pick up the house. Kids made chili. Jeff did a mud run. Oh, and Winston shredded Teddy's bed. Again, please clean it the best you can. Oh, except for the statue Max made for me. Thanks, Abby.
Hi, Abby. Clean kitchen, clean bath, clean floor, naughty cat. Poor Teddy. The statue is precious. You should keep it forever. See you next time, Mary Maids.
Happy spring, Wenatchee Valley from Collins Fashions. We are so ready for your Wenatchee lifestyle special events and vacation time. Colorful tees and tunics, embroidered and colorful ankle jeans, capris and shorts from Not Your Daughters, Jag, Liverpool, French dressing, etc. Beautiful mom of the bride or groom dresses, sundresses too. New shoes and sandals from Soft, Bueno, Nicole, Naked Feet. Spring Brighton handbags and jewelry are amazing. Please stop into Collins and let us style and pamper you, where fun meets fashion in downtown Wenatchee.
Thursday night, hockey night on the NCW Life Channel. It all begins at 7 o'clock with a call of the Wild and Clarkie's Corner. Then it's non-stop hockey action with the voice of the Wild, Arch Ecker. Join us as the Wild battle the rest of the BCHL. Thursday night is hockey night on the NCW Life Channel.
Okay, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Mike Mad Dog Magnani. I'm talking to Mr. Tim-Lynch. Now, this is getting into the other stuff about this man's life, why it's important. All right, so you went back to school. You're going to be a writer, so you're majoring in English and sociology, but you made a switch, right? Tell us about that.
Well, there's for sociology minors and majors, you have to take a class called Statistics for the Social Sciences. Mm-hmm. I took it twice. I got a D- both times.
I know why. I know why.
And so I didn't want that on my GPA, so I withdrew both times and had a conference with my advisor.
Right.
It was basically, it came down to, well, what can I do in a year and a half and come out of this with a job? And he says, well, I don't know, what about teaching? And I thought, yeah, I was a camp counselor at CYO Camp Field. I know about kids and how to work with them. And I said, sure, no problem, you know. And well, holy cow, that was a choice that I soon regretted, but I have learned to love, because it has turned out so well.
So where did you start your teaching career?
I did my student teaching at Gonzaga Prep High School, which kind of freaked out all the other teachers in the English department because they hadn't had a student teacher in quite a while. They all thought their jobs were in jeopardy. Yeah. And I said, no, I'm not going to be teaching here. And then I came back to Wenatchee. I substitute taught at Wenatchee High School when John Gordon was the principal, and I wrote sports on the weekends for Dick Piper down at the Wenatchee World with Dave Riggs and Mike McCluskey.
Okay, yeah, I never know that. You did some sports radio. Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, that was a very creative time. I learned how to write sports. I learned that you don't zing a football down the field. That's Dave just said, no, you don't zing a football anywhere on the field. And he taught me most of what I know about quick writing for the newspaper.
Okay.
So, and then I moved to Everett to pursue teaching positions and substitute teach. And that's where I found alternative education.
Okay.
I was called to the Mukilteo district one day to ACES, their alternative high school. And
And you were called in to do some substitute teaching?
substitute
Okay, right.
teaching, and I looked around and I thought, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
These kids are learning. Their teachers are sitting with them to make sure the concepts they're trying to get across are getting across. I thought, I can do this.
Right.
And so I did land a contracted position with Holy Cross High School, a Catholic high school
Right.
in Everett. It became Archbishop Murphy shortly thereafter. And that's when it just kind of hit home. I looked out at the classroom, they were looking at me, and I thought to myself, I can do this for maybe 5 to 10 years,
Right.
and then I've got to find something else.
And this was teaching in a more traditional setting?
This was
Okay.
teaching in a very traditional setting. The kids all wore uniforms.
Right.
And we had Mass on campus every Thursday, I think. So yeah, very traditional. And I left that job when the Wenatchee job, well, the Wenatchee job that I have now came open in at the semester in '92.
Okay.
I interviewed for it and got the job, so I left the job I had.
And that job in Wenatchee was with the
Wenatchee School District at what was then Wenatchee Valley Alternative High School.
Right.
And in '95, I believe, through the efforts of Steve Wellman, the art teacher at the time, we changed the name to Westside High
Right.
School to make it more, well, to make it sound less alternative and more high schooly.
Right.
So we did that, and I moved my family over here, my new wife and our baby daughter, and started working the night program at Westside, which is where I've been for 26 years.
Really? You've been doing that 26 years. Good for you.
Yeah, the hours are 12:30 to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday.
Right.
Right now, there's no student contact for the night program on Friday, so we have our meetings and do our grading and get our paperwork done and all that on Friday. And yeah, I walked into a very challenging position, but one that I found out I'm very well suited for.
So why is Westside so important? Okay.
Westside is important because it gives people who consider themselves to be marginal students, who have problems, emotional problems, psychological problems, academic problems, learning disabilities, social anxiety.
Or even just differences in learning styles, right?
Differences in learning styles.
True.
And Westside recognizes that, or the Wenatchee School District recognized that these students were underserved and most not served.
Right.
So there was an effort to find a way to do that, and the alternative school was started in 1985 with Bob Bradford as the original principal, and they've changed location 3 times, and we're in the 3rd location right now.
Yeah. Now, was it originally in the old college dorms?
It was.
Or is that the second place?
That's the second place.
Okay,
the first place was the YWCA downtown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, I didn't know that. I didn't know it started there.
There weren't very many students, just a few. But now we have just under 300 in 4 different programs. So we try to accommodate just about anybody who doesn't feel they're being served in other schools. You have to apply to get into Westside.
Do you understand that?
That is something that other schools don't do. Because we are an alternative school, we can do things differently.
Right.
There are academic code laws passed by the state legislature that govern how we are to assess and teach. And we follow that as best we can, as best as any teacher can. Westside is important because it encourages the individual to succeed. We set the graduation as the goal, and here's how many credits you have, and here's how we're going to get you through that.
And there's different. I mean, you use a variety of methods to get to that goal, right?
Yeah. We recognize different learning styles, and we're also very proud of the bond we have. We call it the West Side family, because we're all like-minded. Every teacher on campus, whatever their political, religious affiliation, we're all like-minded to assure the success of that one kid or this kid or all the kids.
Now, why did you, Tim, feel such an affinity to this particular type of program? Okay, what was it about you that said, this is where I need to be?
Well, I suppose anybody.
I mean, you were kind of one of those kids, right?
Okay, come on. I was gonna say anybody that knows me knows that I can relate really well to them, because I could see how they were struggling with this, and I related my own experiences with struggling with life and parental authority and Catholicism, and everybody just trying to squeeze me into this one perfect little package and then put me out into the world and say success. Well, from growing up expecting to be a lawyer and abandoning that, and then becoming this wayward itinerant musician, traveling around and not really having a permanent home, I kind of let the pendulum swing both ways, and swing pretty hard the opposite way of the way I was raised. And I did get in some trouble, and tried to learn my lesson. But when I first started working at ACES in Mukilteo, I felt it then. I felt a bond. I felt that I could make a difference with these guys. Sometimes just saying hello to them.
And you've been doing it for 26 years.
26 years.
And you're about to retire. But look, and I don't mean to cut you off, but we really got to take a break, okay? But hey, Street Talk and other stuff, Mike Mad Dog Magnati. We're going to be back with Tim Lynch very briefly when we come back. I let him go a little bit long, but hey, you stick around. We'll be right back.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on Local Tel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook,
where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
Walkabout Grill, open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner in downtown Wenatchee and now downtown Leavenworth, where eating out is eating healthy.
Okay, so I want to say thanks to my guest, Mr. Tim Lynch. Tim, thank you for your service. Thank you. You know, my son-in-law and a good friend of mine went to West Side, and it's been a tremendous school. You have helped hundreds of kids graduate high school that may not have done so, and just congratulations on your retirement. But hey, Street Talk and Other Stuff, Mike Mad Dog McNatty. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. So.